It's too late. It's too late for them. It's too late.
Homegrown is the next. The homegrown.
They're trying so hard, so hard. They can detain one of us. There's thousands more coming. They can try to deport one of us. There's thousands and thousands more coming. They can try to silence one of us. They can try to fire one of us. They can try to torture. They can try to kill all of us. But it's too late. It's too late for them. Don't they see? Don't you see what's happening all around the world? The millions and millions and millions of people rising up from all backgrounds, from all faiths, from all countries, from all nations. It's too late for them. And if you haven't spoken up yet, it might be too late for you to be on the right side of history, of humanity, of morality, of justice, of conscience. This is your call to say something and not let history judge you for what you should have done. For people in this world who didn't have a voice and needed yours. And if you're wondering, what is there to say? There's only one thing to say that says it all. Free Palestine.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula. Episode 109, Who Controls the World? With special guest Dr. David Martin and Stephanie Pierucci. And all new top censored news of the week. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
All right, here we go. Here we go, guys. We got a great one for you. Welcome to the Homeless Left. I'm Matt Weinglass. This is the non-tribal approach for a news outlet, the podcast that gives you non-tribalism on every day, every show, every week. We don't succumb to a leader or a party or a group. We ask questions. We demand answers. We always get curious. We're curious about everything. We don't take no for an answer. When people tell us shut up and get in line, we say hell no. We want to know more. We want to go further. And that's what we do here, guys. So with that, this is we have a great show today. We got a amazing guest coming in with us a little later. It's Dr. David Martin. He'll be here with us. The name of the show today, we're calling it Who Controls the World? And we're certainly going to be getting into some of that with Dr. David Martin. We're going to be looking at counter bioterrorism and apparently the next event 201 on the horizon. We have co-host Craig Pasta Jardula. He's be coming in with us shortly. Later, guest co-host Stephanie Pierucci. So we do have a ton of great conversations to get into. We got some Trump and Putin stuff going on there. We're going to look into that. And we have some of the other happenings with Israel. Obviously, we've been covering that every single week, every show. Very important. We fight the censorship industrial complex. We're going to be doing a top censored news of the week. Of course, we do that every Thursday. And then later, we're going to have Leslie in with Talking Back. We're going to be responding to your comments, your questions, engaging with you, which we love to do every show with you guys. That's primarily on the Rumble channel. And we are going to have to cut our YouTube feed before we get in to the conversation with Dr. David Martin, just to warn you guys on that. But our burner channel on YouTube, it's doing well. We just got qualified for monetization, which is insane to me because they terminated our last channel. And now here we are 4 months later and we have this opportunity. But we have to be careful with our conversations on there. Why? Because the censorship industrial complex has captured YouTube and Google. We know this. We know this. They tell us our conversations are not safe for the community. We're dangerous. We make the community of YouTube feel unsafe because words are dangerous and conversations are dangerous. And if we disagree with each other and we hear an alternate view that counters the view we were told by our group, our church or our tribe or whatever you call it, our party, if anything counters that narrative, well, then we might be so susceptible to believe that garbage because it's all misinformation. That's what they told us. It's misinformation. And if we get damaged, if our brains get damaged because we are weak, we're very fragile human beings, that one little idea that wasn't told to us by our leaders, that could really have a bad impact on us and really cause us harm, and maybe cause us not just harm ourselves, harm our communities, harm people around us. And that's why they love policing us, because we don't want to be thinking for ourselves. But no, we've had enough of that garbage. We are standing up to that. We are thinking for ourselves. That's what we're doing here on the Homeless Left. We're here twice a week, every Tuesday, Thursday on Rumble, our main channel. That's where they don't pull the plug on us, which is really awesome. Still have to deal with the little shadow banning stuff. We're still figuring that out. So please help us out with the likes and the shares. It does help challenge that that algorithm in place for whatever reason. But we want to keep this show going. We really appreciate you guys' engagement. And again, if you are here for the first time or you're regular watcher, regular viewer of our show, regular engagement with us, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. But just to let you know, if you are just stumbling on us for the first time, if you're feeling uneasy about the state of politics, if you're feeling uneasy about our economy, our society over these last few years, if you feel like your party, your tribe, we talk about tribalism, if they let you down and you've been maybe guilty of a little bit of hero worshiping, the thing you've been maybe they can do no wrong at all costs. You protect that thing at all costs. If you're sick of that and you're ready to start holding people accountable, especially people you elect. If you elect them into office, you got to start holding them accountable and asking questions. And if you're getting pushback for just asking those questions, well, and you don't want to play this game. It's called identity politics. It's divisive. It's red team versus blue team. If you're sick and tired of all that hate and division being sold to us every single day by the mainstream media, and they're not journalists, by the way, they're propagandists, and they're there to protect power. And if you're sick and tired of being bullied by them day to day to tell you to shut up, get in line, and you're sick and tired of punching down at friends and family and coworkers and being uninvited to Thanksgivings and such, if you're sick and tired of that, you're ready to start punching up. Punching up means we're holding people accountable in power. If you're ready to start doing that, then the Homeless Left is the place for you. Now, Homeless Left happens to be my story. What's yours? Are you homeless from the right? Are you homeless from the middle? Are you homeless from the up, from the down, from the upside down, all around? It doesn't matter. We're all homeless. So let's be homeless together in a non-tribal way here on the Homeless Left. Okay. So before we get into anything, because we got a big show for you guys. Before we get into it, I have to, first of all, I have to respond. I absolutely need to take this time right now to respond to a conversation. Let's call it a conversation that occurred here on our show on Tuesday with our guest, Dr. Shiva. He's been on our show before. He is a former independent candidate for president of the United States. We've had a few different interactions with him. We've had, previous interviews leading up to the election. The last one we had was probably the most, I would say, accomplished time we've had with him was with me and Craig Pasta. We actually was right before the election. And the guy, we don't agree on everything. That's the point. But he has some good ideas, and I want to put that out there. He has some great ideas about how to challenge power. He calls it the swarm. So, of course, when they reached out, his team reached out, wanted to come back on the show. I thought, what a great opportunity to have a little post-election dialogue, since we hadn't spoken since October. So here we are in May, and our co-host, you guys know we have Jay Scott, he co-hosts with me on the show every Tuesday. And I figured let's have an opportunity to talk because he and I hadn't done an interview with Shiva before. So let's do that. And we wanted to get into some stuff. There's AI discussion that we wanted to have with him. We have we have all of this, what do we do now in this? I mean, everybody's talking about what happens to that third party movement? What happens to the populist movement now, moving forward, looking ahead, 2027, 2028. So it would have been a great discussion. And we did get to tap into that just a little bit at the end of the interview, but most of the time was taken up with what I would consider very unprofessional banter that seemed to be very one way. And I'm not talking about me and Jay. We definitely held our ground and tried to be professional. I will say this in regards to taking that opportunity. I don't regret taking the opportunity. You guys can go back and watch it. It's on our live show. We never take our lives down. Even when crazy stuff happens, we never take our lives down. So we were fully ready to see where this thing went. But the one thing that was very important, to be journalists with integrity, people that when we engage with people, we do it in a professional way, but sometimes we have to hold people accountable. And we had an unresolved issue that we felt, let's get this out of the way at the beginning. And it had to do with the third party debate that happened here in LA in October, right before the election. And there was the debate that was inviting everybody. The woman handling, her name was Christina Tobin, one of our colleagues, or I guess you would say friends of our colleagues, and part of what we do in independent media, had an opportunity. Her name, you guys know Kim Iverson. She had a great opportunity to have a discussion with Christina Tobin about this third party debate and who was invited, who wasn't answering, how we're going to get as many third party candidates on the stage as possible. And in that 25-minute interview, Dr. Shiva's name didn't come up. And yeah, that's frustrating. So obviously you would hope that his name came up in discussion of why he wasn't invited to that debate. And here's where it gets really messy. Because apparently because Kim didn't mention his name in that interview, that wasn't okay with Dr. Shiva. So rather than trying to figure out what's going on, if there's something he's not aware of, is there a conversation happening behind the scenes, he decided to go on Twitter and attack. And this is the problem. There's fallback to doing that. If you're going to attack and call people names like racist, which he did, and you guys can look up all that. I'm not going to share it right now, but we wanted to have a discussion with him about the consequences of treating people in our space that way, because from doing that, he lost a ton of interview opportunities that were on the books. This was October of 2024, and you needed, if you were running for president, you want to be taken seriously, you wanted to get on as many shows as possible and have engagements with audience. He chose not to do that, and he should have known that that's what was going to happen, and he lost invites from several places that had massive audiences, way more audience we have. We're getting there. We're getting there. But that's what you get. So to have that discussion up front was the right thing to do. Jay, Scott, and myself, we hold by our decision to do that. We know a lot of people that may be on his team felt that we did some sort of like gotcha interview. It's not a gotcha interview. It's holding people accountable. If we didn't bring it up, then we would be doing a softball interview. And that's not what we do here. We hold people accountable. And there's one epiphany I had and Jay had after the interview, and I'll share it with you guys. The epiphany is this. When we take our tribal goggles off and start looking in a critical thinking skills and looking at the world in that kind of honest way, it's sometimes we miss the fact that people in our space may have also taken off those goggles, but they might have put a new pair on. That's what happened with Dr. Shiva. Now, I don't want to get into anything of his personal life. I don't know. But I do know that he's not in the space to be non-tribal like us. He's in the space to be the hero that gets worshipped. And his followers are that same way. So if you've disconnected from another entity like the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or MAGAs or wherever you come from, and you say, I'm not going to be part of this hero worship anymore. I'm not going to be part of this thing that can no longer ask any questions and hold people accountable. If you're coming from that place, then you're going right back into the thing that you got out of. And that's my warning for anybody. If you think that you've joined something that's new and fresh and open-minded, just take a look in the mirror. If you are not holding people accountable for things they do and asking those questions and you're getting pushback, this is the mantra of our show. So we experienced that with Dr. Shiva. We don't regret doing the interview. We don't regret asking that question up front. We wanted to get it out of the way. It didn't go the way we had hoped, but that's what happened. The only thing I'll say that we could say if we had to do it again, or the only regret, or just kind of looking inward, what could we have done better? There's one thing I'll say. If this ever happens again, I don't know that it will, but if it ever does happen again, there's a moment in the conversation where you know that it's not going anywhere, and you just need to say, we're moving on. That's it. And it took a little too long that we should have done it earlier. That's about it. But other than that, we stand by our journalism. We stand by our independent media behavior in an interview. We stand by our professionalism. We stand by our curiosity, and we stand by our critical thinking. And more importantly, we stand by our ability to hold each other accountable and get answers when we need answers. That's it. So we're going to continue to do that. And we hope that this was informative to you guys. And again, if you haven't seen the interview, go back and watch it. We will upload it separately. We'll do that. You guys will see it in the next few days. I'll put it up independently of the live from Tuesday, and you can see it in its entirety. I have no problem doing that. But we learn from each other. We learn from each experience. And I'll tell you this, we can handle an interview with Dr. Shiva. We can handle an interview with anyone. So that's what I take away from it. But yeah, we go with the flow. We go from here. But it's always good to self-reflect. I wanted to share that with you guys and let you know, yeah, we're still going strong. And thank you guys for all your support. And we saw the comments in the chat, and we were unable to get to them. And I wanted to apologize for that too, because it went so long. We had to go and get on to another show. We couldn't engage with you guys, but we appreciate all the support that you gave us throughout, and we saw it. And thank you guys. Thank you guys for sticking by what we're doing and getting our backs, because we got your backs too. Okay, moving on. Let's go ahead and get started with the segment we like to do right away on Thursdays, which is Top Censored News. I like to start this, but I think we need to bring our co-host in. That's what we need to do. Let's go ahead. Hey, Jamie, do you know where Craig's at? Do we have anything? No. Well, that's too bad. We have him. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Here we go. Just in time. Okay. Here we go, guys. Let's go ahead and bring in our co-host for today. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Craig Pasta Jardula.
Hey, what's up, Matt? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks again for being here. And we're excited about today's show, today's lineup. But I don't know if you caught it, but we had to kind of do a little breakdown of what happened on our previous show. But man, sometimes we have some stuff we need to flush out. We like to talk to the audience after. The one thing we weren't able to do Tuesday because we ran long is we weren't able to engage with our audience that day, and we generally do like to do that. So I was basically using the beginning of the show to let people know this is how we feel about what happened with our previous guest, Dr. Shiva, and we got to engage with the audience today about it. So if you guys haven't seen that interview, go back and watch it. It's on our live from Tuesday. If you guys want to check it out.
I got to say, though, it's just going to be an interesting time and moving forward. There's a lot of nuance to what's going on. There are good things that can come about, certain people, and bad things. Too much with the luggage is too much to carry. I think that Dr. Shiva kind of falls into that space where he can present some amazing ideas. I'm going to take the message of end the occupation of our government by Israel's lobbyist AIPAC and other lobbyists, other Israeli lobbyists. They obviously, it's more or less their government controlling our foreign policy. And I'm going to ring hard with that message. But unfortunately, I don't find myself even having him on my show or any other shows right now because he's just displayed that he's going to go off the rails and say certain things. I admire you for going and putting those things out to him right away so you can be addressed. I think him calling Kim a racist was just this, showed a sense of, okay, buddy, what good is your message going to be if you're not capable of carrying that message and pushing that on because you're going to say unnecessary things like that, things that are very far from the truth. So, it is what it is, but we just move forth. And like I said, we got to take the good with the bad. We did a show the other day, Matt, on, on Monday on Truthwire, aka the old school convo couch, where we talked about China and China's economic ambitions by going along and selling weapons to Gulf monarchs that are used to kill poor people in Yemen or in Lebanon or in Gaza. Maybe they might show up. Who knows? Nonetheless, it's not perfect. They're a better society than ours. Definitely, China has lifted up their people out of poverty, given them mass transportation. Every time you see a video of a Chinese city, it looks like you're looking in the future. You look at us, we're definitely living in the past. So there's nuance there. They haven't attacked anybody or had a military intervention since 1973. So obviously there's a lot of great things that China does. But once again, they're not the Boy Scouts, and they've done some things that can be considered sinister and nefarious, and also not leading the right conversations, talking about a two-state solution, which I think is out the window and ridiculous. They had that before. It's not going to work. But there's a lot of nuance in what's going on. You got to be able to take the good and bad from everybody, and even with the good, sometimes, a broken clock is right 2 times a day, and we have to be able to decipher from the two. So good for you for at least taking on that challenge. But I think moving forward now, we know what we know. Now we know what we can do, who we can have on, who we shouldn't have on, and who we have to shoot for, and the questions we have to ask. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you addressed it.
And I appreciate more and more what you guys do, you and Fiorella and everybody else that we work with. I can't name it. I hate when we try to name everyone because we always leave people out. But all the people in our realm that do this type of work every single day. There's so much to it. There's so much nuance and levels and layers and exploration and like the investigative part. It's so layered sometimes. And so I just to me, it saddens me, if anything, that somebody so intelligent just takes all of that and throws it in the trash because they don't care. And it's like, well, then what do you care about? You don't care about the things that this is how we engage with people. This is how we having these discussions. This is what builds our ability to decipher truth and fiction, right? To be able to decipher and test our own moral compasses when push comes to shove, and things that actually affect our lives go down. Like we've seen over just this last 5 years with COVID and with Ukraine war and with this genocide in Gaza. Like we have a certain responsibility to respond in a way that's more than just throwing everything in one box and or whatever, throw it all in a toilet and flush it down the drain.
Matt,
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. People just don't have the capability to care and understand. They just can't help themselves in certain ways. And we have to accept that as fact too, as well. Sometimes we can't just say, man, you have so many great ideas. Why can't you just get yourself your diplomacy and get it together? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nobody wants to do business with a hothead who's going to just blurt them out and do whatever. And in fact, that type of energy and attitude kills the message. But, we at one point we can't keep scratching our head and saying, why can't this person figure it out? If you would just work on your diplomacy and, be just more diplomatic towards everybody, more understanding, think more positive than negative in everybody, your message would get far out there. You know what I'm saying? But, whether you're capable of it or not, you showed you're not capable of leading a revolution or a movement, or, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean you can't come up with good ideas. We leave it where it is. We move on. That's it.
Yeah. And I'm just going to throw this one up because this is a nice feel good. I didn't really, because we didn't get to engage during the interview, but Zudzilla tells us, Matt and Jay were absolutely professional and calm, personally happy the stream didn't come to an end in a bad sprout. So unfortunately, the doctor didn't want to listen. So no, I appreciate that type of feedback. We did the best we could as professionals, and we did have I guess you could say, a professional way to end it on our terms, and we did that. So I feel good.
And I know if it was from you ending it, it came amicably. And that's who you are, and that's what people are going to, what I'm saying? They're going to say, hey, man, Matt is He was a gentleman. Jay was great. They were professional. They were kind. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? That's going to bode well for you in the future, because you're going to also display that we can push and we can ask the hard questions and still be an adult about things. I prided myself in that. You know, I mean, I got a lot of props back for the way I was very calm and candid in asking RFK those questions, the way I interviewed Dr. Cornel West. I mean, because that's the way to do things. And, you know, you don't have to agree with somebody, you know, but you still don't have to be a dick about it. I mean, why should anybody be a dick about things? Like, I mean, are you a perfect human being? Do you not have flaws? Well, then don't be a dick. You know, but it's like I said, some people cannot grasp that because there's something, the lights are on, but no one's home.
I don't think I'm ever going to know if he intentionally actually believes that we were being simplistic in our questioning, or if that was I think it was a defense mechanism to be like, you guys are you're looking for an apology because you're hurt. It's like, there's so much more we're asking you. We're asking you about, do you understand the complexity of the environment you're in? Do you care? Why are you even on our show if you don't care? Like, there's more going on than you hurt someone's feelings. Like, or you swear too much. Like, people like, oh yeah, he's got a foul mouth. Okay, but that's not, we want to go further. So we always look to go further. So I don't think I'll ever know for sure if he doesn't understand that, or if that is just the way you deflect when you don't want to actually have that conversation. But we're going to keep pushing the conversations on this show. Absolutely. Whoever comes on, in a respectful, professional way, because we want answers. We want discourse. We want to get somewhere. We want aha moments. I think that's what we're going for, aha moments. And so we can all continue to evolve into the future. So with that said, I think it's about time we do some top censor news of the week. Yeah. Ready? Okay.
Let's do it, buddy.
Let's do it.
All right, hit that button.
We're going. Here we go. Uncanceled Comedy Collective presents Top Censored News of the Week. It's Top Censored News of the Week, bringing you the stories the mainstream media just refuses to cover. If they do cover them, however, they always do it in a very dishonest or sloppy way, and it's always on purpose. I'm here with co-host Craig Pasa Jardula. We're going to get into the top 3 censored stories of the week, starting with number 3. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino claims they will release the video to the public proving that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Interesting. Well, that's a funny development, because we already have Cash and Bongino, the two of them, who sat down last week to tell us that there's nothing to look into at all. Let's go back and look at that video first, and then we'll see what's happened since. And I want to get to your tweet as well, Craig, because I think this is a definitely you guys keep walking yourself further and further into the corner. But let's see. This was the first time the two of them sat down together. Check this out.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria. You said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And then Bongino, actually, that one cut off soon, but Bongino follows up with, believe me, I'm telling you, I've seen the files, and there's nothing to see here. I'm telling you guys the truth. So the two of them took that. This was a week ago. They've been getting nonstop harassed about this, which is good. They're the people that voted for Trump and voted for this type of, we're calling out the deep state, we're looking into this stuff. All their people, these two are getting called out crazy, and they're not. So how do they respond to this? Well, they don't like say, hey guys, let's level with you. We're going to tell you what's really happening. No, of course they double down. This is what they both do. This is Bongino going on Fox and Friends to double down on the idea that there's nothing to see here, and to prove it, we're going to show you something. but we can't show it to you yet because we're still splicing it up in post-production. It's not ready to be released theatrically yet, if you guys get my drift. This is all theater. Check this out.
Cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. It was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
We're working on cleaning it up. I'm sorry. I can't, man. We'll finish it up here.
You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Right.
There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
So
Bongino's saying he's going to release this to the public. Well, what are you releasing? Well, not exactly anything of any sort other than we just have to fine tune this footage and we're going to get it ready. And by the way, in the meantime, while we're doing our post-production, if you guys have any information you want to give us, because we're just the FBI deputy directors, if you have any information for us, we'd love to hear it. So you can email us or send us a DM with an attachment if you want. If you guys want to show us anything that we missed, maybe go down a rabbit hole on Twitter. We haven't looked at anything yet, but please help us out because we don't really know what the hell we're doing. Please help.
Okay. So, do you have more of this video you want to play, or you want to just jump right into
That's the end of that one. I want to get into the COVID part too, but what's your...
Well, let's stay here on Epstein before we go to the COVID part, because there's a lot to discuss and break it down. Obviously, we can sit here, we can laugh at this, we can point, we can say, this is ridiculous. Who the fuck? You're full of shit. Leave it at that. But I think we have to discuss why they are full of shit. Mm-hmm. The other day, I heard Russ Dobular from Due Dissident say about the whole South African situation, about Donald Trump doing what he said about the white farmers being killed by black Africans. It was a sight. And I was very happy to see Russ use those words, right? Like Due Dissidence is talking about, obviously we have to understand. And, with my latest project, I made sure I had a truther, somebody from the conspiracy theory movement inside the panel, because it has now come into the actual, not so much mainstream media, but it has come in. Now they're talking about Epstein on mainstream media. Things have caught up to a point where the ruling class can't afford, but they have to talk about it because the public is so aware of things. Him saying that whole thing was a psyop, great, it was. But let me explain something to you. The whole Donald Trump presidency is a psyop. It really is. Just like the whole Hope and Change Barack Obama presidency was a psyop. And look how crazy similar. Hope and change, right? Change, meaning this is a different guy, Matt. We have hope now, right? Telling your base you should have hope. You don't have to be so distraught anymore and so angry. You can now have hope because we have a guy who's going to come in there and change things. We have an anti-war, anti-Wall Street president that's going to come in there and fight for the little guy. Boy, did we learn hard. Donald Trump, the same thing. He's an outsider, Matt. He's going to take on the deep state. He's going to take on the intelligence agency. He's going to take on the globalists and the oligarchs. They're going to let him live, right? Well, they tried to kill him. They missed him. That's how good this guy is. The guy is Jesus. But that's it. Every single presidency, whether it be on the right or the left, if it's in the Republican or the Democratic field, it is a psyop. It is meant to keep you in a two-party state illusion mindset. In other words, your enemy is not the ruling class. It's not the globalists. It's the Democratic Marxists, cultural war Marxists. It's them, right? They have all these people out there, this Maha media, these guys who will all argue up and down that the Republicans are the lesser of two evils. All these guys on the Republican populist side who say they're anti-Zionist, but will still say you got to vote for Donald Trump because he's better than Joe Biden. Yep. No, this whole thing is a psyop. We'll never get answers. Dan Bongino has always played the two-party game. The Republicans are better than the Democrats. No, they're both garbage equally because they're both working for the same people with the same agenda designed to give you little victory wins. Like this is what this is supposed to do. Oh, we're going to get to the bottom of the Epstein situation, Matt. We're going to make the people who were trafficked, they were trafficked the children to, accountable. We'll have names. That's it. That's what Donald Trump is there to do. We'll get the JFK files, right? That won't mention Israel. That won't mention the Mossad, but we'll get the JFK files. They're designed to give you these emotional wins, except nothing changes.
No.
Okay.
No.
Capitulate back to the status quo, which is a two-party illusion. The same people in charge, the same people owning more of the resources, and nothing for you. People have to understand what Dan Bongino is doing. Now, he could be a useful idiot here. And I think he is by seeing some of his commentary, because it was never about changing the system with Dan Bongino. Never about changing the system with Donald Trump. It's putting in the right management, which means intelligence agencies still exist. The security state still exists. The military industrial complex still gets their money. I mean, Donald Trump is out there now going $1 trillion. He's bragging. And you got Witkoff saying that he's a humanitarian on Fox News and he's the peace candidate. No, but they understand what's going on. And something to understand too as well, Matt, is that the Republicans are out there. They have more of their base supporting and representing them than the left does. On the left, you have very little people. It's not like a movement that they have on the right, because they give the people on the right these little emotional wins and they tease them with the Epstein stuff, the JFK stuff. And as we talk about the COVID stuff but you'll never get answers. That Thomas Massey clock, I don't know if it was his or somebody changed it. It was a meme because he had the debt clock on. I seen it at the Libertarian Convention. But there's a clock that says how many people trafficked by Epstein, how many elitists trafficked by Epstein's are in jail. That number's 0, Matt. It will remain 0. The government's not going to turn in their own kind. They might find some patsies or something else, but you're never going to get justice. It's designed to make you think that, the whole system, you got these people, and I will mention like Laura Loomer out there, who are sitting out there and arguing like that the deep state and this industry is after Donald Trump. Donald Trump's working hand in hand with them. Hand in hand. You can't look at his verbs, his words, his verbiage, his narrative, his rhetoric. You got to look at his policies and what he does. That's why we were able to call out that whole fake wrestling match between Netanyahu and Donald Trump. See what's going on today. I mean, like I said, if that's what it's like to have Donald Trump mad at you, I wish he was mad at me because then I get everything I want.
Yeah,
but,
that's exactly true.
We're going to get no victories. I'm sorry for rambling on. I want to make sure you got it.
No,
both sides are guilty. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House. As long as it's a Republican and Democrat, you are getting played. You are getting screwed. And the Trump people are getting screwed the way Obama got screwed us.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up Obama. And I will tag on Bernie and AOC to that because we've been through this so many times on the left. We've been through this idea that, wait a minute, you're not doing the thing that we voted for you, or we gave you money to do. We gave you our attention, our energy, our emotion, our time, everything. Our checkbooks. We gave you everything, and you're not doing the thing. So we left the party, and then we could be loud about it. Yeah. I think that I'll give MAGAs a little more credit that some of them are staying in the party, and they're also being louder than we were. We weren't loud during Obama. We didn't know that he was screwing us. I was in this kind of mindset of, the people mad at Obama are just people that are racist. And I didn't understand that he was deliberately not doing these things. So I think there's more people on the MAGA side, more on the Maha side.
Can I make a quick comment to that?
Yeah.
I think that more people were afraid to push back against Obama because he was black.
Yes, the fear.
Right? Because the tactics of the left, the Democratic establishment, the establishment American left was, you're a racist, you're a misogynist. How can you do this? These people have been oppressed for so long, and now you're a white guy with all your privilege standing up and saying stuff. On the right with MAGA people, they want to believe Donald Trump is their guy, right? It's not that they're afraid. It's that they want to buy into it. They put themselves in so much emotionally. Yeah. And when you see what the Democrats have done for the last 8 years with their culture war bullshit, I mean, it's been over the top crazy. You know what I'm saying? When you start talking about leading with transgender bathrooms and, you know what I'm saying, kids transitioning and having the state, you know, and the COVID, you know, what you can put in your body. And they did all these things that were over the top crazy. Yep. But to me, I saw it because it mirrored the over to the top craziness of the Bush administration with the Wolfowitz doctrine and how our foreign policy, you know, had these preemptive attacks. It's like, holy cow, you know what I'm saying? So it mirrors each other. But at the end of the day, the agenda is still the same by the establishment pushing forward. It's just that the Republican, Trump, MAGA, right-wing populist base, they want to believe. They're having a hard time looking in the mirror and realizing they got completely played and completely fooled. And you know what they're saying to me? A smart guy said to me today, it's only been 4 months. How much more do you need to prove that this guy is not who he said he was?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we just need to be louder about this and more obnoxious about it, because we have to engage as many of these Trump voters as possible about this, and maybe they'll have a better outcome than we had with Obama, with Bernie and AOC. Maybe they'll have a better outcome if enough of them get angry about this. But just back to Bongino, because this part's important. You mentioned him uniquely. I actually think he does not want to be doing what he's doing. I think he wishes he can go back to just doing his podcast. I think he hates the job. I think he has to do it because Trump gave him a call and said, do this. He has to. It's like, damn it, I have to do this. So it's all written all over his face. So at this point, we know he's gotten pushback for this. He's doubling down on this claim. He says there's a video coming out right now. We're getting it ready for us. And then he goes even further and says, we're going to handle COVID for you guys too. And so he tweets this out. And I saw you were right on it, Craig, on your response. But so if people didn't see this, he's going even further now and saying, as we read and process reports of a new COVID strain emerging, I want you to know that we are actively investigating in multiple field offices the cover-up of the origin of the COVID virus, along with associated matters requiring our attention. You deserve answers. What the hell does he think? Who does he think's going to listen to this garbage? And of course, Craig Pasa chimes in. Is Dan saying this with a straight face? He works for Daddy Warp Speed. Mark my words, we'll never get any straight answers and accountability from what transpired during COVID. The government will never give up any of their own. And it doesn't make a difference whether there's a Republican or a Democrat sitting in the White House. Exactly your point. This is 100% true. Glad you put this out there. Oh, you're Mike.
And once again, it's getting very little follows on Twitter because we're in a controlled system out there too, as well, a narrative control. And there's AI marking things to say don't share this out there. I mean, really, we such need a platform out there. I wish we can have it. I don't think the ruling class will ever let us have a free, transparent, open source system in which things can thrive and grow. They can control the narrative at all time. And right now, the government's number one thing is to make sure that you believe in the two-party system, that they're different. They're not. They're the same. And even still, for him to kind of the odd part about his tweet was, as a new COVID strain is emerging. It's like, as a new COVID strain is emerging, I don't think you're really paying attention to like what had happened during COVID. You probably wouldn't lap that together. You're still saying that you believe in the whole COVID situation, whatnot, that you have to talk about it. And and Donald Trump, he went along with lockdowns. He went along with the vaccine because he thought it would get him reelected or whatever the case may be. He was still there. He allowed it to happen. I mean, he was a big part of it. The CARES Act. That's where all the money went through him, through his signature, in Congress, but it's once again, that clock, how many people who will be held accountable and actually do jail time for this stuff will be zero. I mean, Pfizer right now, in their own information, their own data, in which people like Brooke Johnson and all these other people who are looking into it, they really incriminate themselves. They're guilty from what they say is going on. If anybody in the State Department or the president or whatever would just read that data and say, we have to immediately cancel the Pfizer vaccine and take it off the market. Look what they're doing, right? They're not doing things like that.
No, they're having these little tiny celebration moments that don't mean any. I mean, oh look, we got the CDC to take it off the schedule for healthy pregnant women. Yay! It's like, but you're still giving it to everybody else. You effing a-holes. What are you? That's not what you do when something is not good for people. You don't just kind of remove it here and there. So clearly, Can I say this much, Matt? If Donald Trump was serious about peace, he would go to Congress and say he needed to repeal the AUMF. If he was serious about civil liberties and free speech, he would say you have to repeal the Patriot Act. If he was serious about elections, he would say you have to repeal
the HAVA Act. He would put this to the public. He would say, we're going to eliminate these things. Therefore, so we are a peaceful nation. We have to go through Congress to talk about things before the president can start doing anything. That would be open to the public before we start bombing, right? Before we start looking at your data and spying on you. We removed the Patriot Act, so now we can't have warrantless, wiretappings, and the CIA and the FBI can't just go crazy and infringe on your civil liberties. We would remove Section 230 of the NDAA, saying you're no longer going to get protections. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to impinge on people's speeches anymore, we're not going to be able to talk to these companies because it's illegal. If you want voting rights back, you want legit votes, we want to take away the HAVA Act, in which, all this mechanism and this money from these dark entities that count your ballots, these proprietary softwares, it's going to be eliminated. He's not doing any of that. It's just rhetoric, and he goes behind your back and he does exactly the opposite of what he says he's going to do. And meanwhile, he's getting paid ridiculously by the military-industrial complex, by the AIPAC lobbyists, $1 trillion military budget. I mean, come on, you're not the peace president. And now he's bragging about it, and people are going, peace through strength, peace through strength. By the way, we have a video about peace through strength out there, guys.
Oh, all right. Let's get on to the number 2 story this week. Here we go. Number 2, coming to number 2. Former State Department USMC captain reveals Gaza genocide tour for Israeli children is in effect. This is Matthew Ho telling us about, and I guess he went on Judge Knapp earlier in the week or last week to tell us about his experience going into the Israel-Gaza border. And as he'll tell it to you for himself, but this is a remarkable story, and I think he's still trying to process what he discovered when he was there that nobody's reporting on. Actually, there's one outlet reporting on it. We'll get to that, but we wanted to cover this today. Number 2 story, top censored news.
A mile and a half or so from 300,000 people who are being forcibly starved to death by the Israelis. What is grotesque and absurd and obscene that I was not expecting was where we went to look at Gaza. I was expecting we would go to a hillside or there'd be a field that we could look across or something. We went to an observation platform, Judge. We went to an observation deck, just like you have overlooking Niagara Falls, including with the big binoculars where you put the coins in so you could see. And this is an observation platform that looks into Gaza, an observation platform that observes the genocide. And as we were there looking at Gaza, which is experience itself, because you feel like a voyeur, you feel like a tourist, you find yourself disgusted with yourself that you're standing here watching this, but you're also so far removed. You're so separate from it that it's septic. It's sanitary. You don't see anything that's actually occurring there. You don't hear the screams. You don't hear the dying. You don't see the wrecked bodies. You can't even really make out the damaged buildings. But from this observation platform, it's very picturesque. And it's as if you're watching a movie, essentially. But what was really, and I'm still trying to come to terms with this, I'm trying to find the right words to describe this, and was the fact that as we were there trying to understand how we were relating to this genocide occurring in front of us, an Israeli school field trip showed up. And these children, they're teenagers, they came from 2 hours away to come and watch the genocide. And the first rush of boys to the top of the hill to that observation platform, when they caught sight of Gaza, when they caught sight of the genocide, they pumped their fists and they gave the middle finger to it, and they were very, very excited. And so the idea that there weren't just Israeli citizens who were looking at this, gawking at it, but school children have been brought on a field trip from 2 hours away to come and watch the genocide, is just an aspect of what's occurring here that my visceral reaction to it is one that I'm really troubled by and having a hard time to process, because it's that aspect of genocide that I observed directly, where the population sees it as entertainment, where you have this complete dismissal of the Palestinians as human beings, but as some form of other, that observing their mass murder is something that's just not acceptable among the population, but is part of their school curriculum. So that is, you know, sitting here a day after, as you can tell, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I saw yesterday.
Do you have the barbecue?
Oh, the barbecue.
I
Yeah.
have it. Just let me share real quick here.
Okay.
Because I think this was
important.
the barbecue. Let me know, and I'll just press play when you're ready.
Okay, I got it.
All right, ready? So this is the barbecue. If you want to take down your banner real quick, beautiful. Watermelon too, like just fucking disgusting. It's like fucking just disgusting. Like that was the barbecue I think of that they were eating right there. You know what I'm saying? And it's you know, this is going to be a stain on society. You know, on you know, human beings, especially a lot of Americans, because it came out of our tax dollars and we allowed it to happen. Too many people. This is why I was so critical of those libertarians that went along with the Donald Trump situation, because I knew this was what this would be about. You know what I'm saying? Making Gaza a third rail. Making the Palestinians a third rail. Oh, yeah, it's an awful situation. I don't agree with it. But there's so many other things. What's going on? No, if you are okay with that, if you're complicit on that, you're complicit on this. At the very least, and I think Derek Brose said it, you know, you cannot support any Zionist whatsoever. I mean, this is sad. And Donald Trump has supported. Donald Trump has been worse for Gaza than Joe Biden. He supplied Israel with weapons that they weren't even given by Joe Biden. Lethal, hardcore weapons, bunker busters, at a higher extreme rate, turned the back completely on what's going on in the West Bank. So, I mean, it's very sad. And, you know, I'm going to get a hold of Matt Ho. I kind of avoided talking to the dude sometimes. I thought he was like, you know what I'm saying? But seeing him around lately in the work he's been doing, I tip my hat off to you, Matt, the work you've been doing on Judge Knapp. And, you know, it's wow, that's just shocking, Matt. And that's not even talked about inside the, you know, the mentality, right? Like, I still don't know. I've never been to Israel, so I don't know. When I hear people say, and Norman Finkelstein said this before, the people in Israel 20 years ago are different than they are today. They're less sympathetic. They don't care about the Palestinians. They've been bred and programmed to think that they're animals and rapists. So it's just it's a society that's just far gone now compared to where it was 20, 30 years ago. Sorry, Matt.
No, this is what I'm trying to get into the psychology of this. And I think that Matthew Ho also was, I mean, obviously he's affected. We're all affected by this because it's deeper than we have to win this war and we have to be loyal to our flag and our country that's for us and we're the victims. It's more than that. There's this teaching, and the kids, I think the kids part is what gets me, that the buses show up and these kids have been brainwashed with hate and disgust. And he says that this is entertainment for them. How do we get a society to a point where that it gets that way? The closest I think we had in our lifetimes was, and I say closest as in it's a far second, but we started going that direction after 9/11. There was this idea that the brown-skinned Muslim, we have to be afraid. So if you were in an airport, if you saw somebody wearing, there was this, we have to be careful. And so where did that come from? Candace Owen talked about this recently. She said, hey, I was guilty of, as a kid, you know, being taught to hate a certain, and I didn't know why, but I felt that. So we learn from this. We have an aha moment to go, that's not okay. It seems in this particular case with Israelis, for some reason, they're doubling down. Like you said, 20 years ago, it wasn't like this. They're getting worse and worse and worse. And the kids are getting more and more conditioned to behave this way. This is so the idea that their fear is that they have to kill every Palestinian because they're going to grow up to hate Jews. So that's why they're okay with blowing up babies. But we're watching in real time what it looks like to teach a child hate and teach a child superiority and teach a child disgust and to be entertained by another human being's suffering and death. So, but there's no accountability. So this is why this story, we have to talk about this stuff. This is the stuff that gets even deeper into beyond what we've been looking at in the censorship and punishing people for being in the street with a Palestinian flag. And this goes even deeper. It's more twisted. It's more sinister. It's more sick.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we do about it, Craig. I don't know what we do about it.
Well, we keep doing it. We keep having shows. We keep saying it's not okay, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not just kids that are being, brainwashed. It's a lot of adults here in the United States. They're given their confirmation bias. That's what Dan Bongino was doing when he was talking about a lot of the things. He was giving the Republicans their confirmation bias. Like I said, they really want to believe in this administration as being an outsider. They also want to listen to the rhetoric, because since Donald Trump is doing it and going along and saying beautiful, beautiful Israel, that when you see an foreign whatever minister he was saying every children in Gaza is an enemy, they will grow up to rape your daughter in years to come. I mean, that's kind of just sick, disgusting rhetoric, and seeing people go along with it. At the end of the day, Donald Trump with the whole South African thing, the nerve, the hypocrisy, dude, you're funding this genocide. This thing that's taking place over here in Gaza is all coming out of our tax dollars. We are all paying for it, which means we are complicit.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe we are more guilty of something right now. I know I cited this like early 2000s time where we kind of learned about fear and hate, and we might have fallen for it then. We might be falling for something worse right now, just from a point of view of what is enough to get us out of our seats and say enough. I saw this comparison. I want to bring this up to you because this was this Vietnam versus Gaza comparison. So let me just before we get to the number one story, I know people have seen this footage. This is the girl being burnt alive. Now, I think she did escape and she did survive this, but this is her entire family wiped out in this fire. If you guys haven't seen it yet, this is very disturbing. So there she is, and she's being targeted by IDF, like to be murdered, and her whole family is dead. And I think, we did get word she did survive this, but the point is that this type of imagery, we think back to Vietnam and we think about what was the imagery that got Americans to have it enough. We have enough of going into a foreign country and tormenting innocent children. What was it? Well, here's a reminder. If you guys didn't know this, or if you want a little education, little historical context, there was a moment that the Americans had enough. It was called the Napalm Girl. It was a photo that shocked the world because you got the child suffering in this one shot of this little girl in Vietnam, like running down the street, and you see the pain in her eyes. And that was enough to get people to say enough of this. But the viral video I just showed you, that's gone viral. That child in the fire has gone viral. And it wasn't enough to provoke any sort of public outcry. It's just not enough. We're desensitized to this. This is the imagery side by side. That's the famous picture on the left. The little girl running out of the South Vietnamese. There was a napalm attack. She's screaming, going down the street. That picture did everything for people here. They said, wait, we're doing this. We're funding this. We're causing this pain, this suffering in children. We've had enough. Why can't the same thing happen now? Have we regressed? I guess that's my question here, Craig. No. Have we gotten worse too?
Well, the social engineers have gotten better. The people who were fooling us gotten better. They've come up with more excuses, more ways of propaganda. You know what I'm saying? They have more soldiers. Operation Mockingbird brags that the CIA has a plant or their own type of person in almost every single mainstream media outlet out there. Now they're going into the independent world. They've given us more excuses to allow it to happen, to separate us from the situation. Remember when Matt Ho said that he's like, the one thing that felt really weird or avant-garde is the fact that he is separated from the whole situation, like it's happening in front of him, like a movie, and it's very mind-chilling. Well, that's still happening right here in the United States. They're so consumed with so many more problems nowadays than they were over there. There is no middle class. Everybody's struggling. So that kind of factors in less time to pay attention to what's going on. But they've been given more excuses. Matt, the Arabs, the Jews, and even the Christians, they've been at war in that region for years. It was around a lot longer before we were here. It's going to be around after we're gone. There's nothing we can do about it. They've given more confirmation bias for those people who want to buy into their team. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be on a Democrat or a Republican or just even an independent out there that's not party affiliated. They've given these social engineers, through their proxies in the media, have given people more excuses not to care, to think it can't be solved, that it's separate from us, right? Like you said, that was our bomb that caused that fire that little girl is coming out of, but yet they'll say those things like that I just said. They've been fighting for years over there. Bill Maher says it all the time. It's been going on before us. You can't blame us for this. So, it takes it off our hand. And then we go back to, all right, I got to pay rent, so I got to work this extra shift, so I'm going over there. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's somebody who's completely distracted, I don't want to listen or pay attention to this. It's my day off. Put on the Family Feud and, Trivial Pursuit. They check out. They don't pay attention to it. So, I mean, the mainstream medias aren't even talking about it. So on your boob tube, on your TV, you can't even get this. You probably don't have that shot anywhere out there. It was only seen online. It was limited by those. But you better believe that Elon Musk did his part to limit that being played out there. It's just that the social engineers have used Tavistock, the studies, to get better, and they understand us as a species better. They understand which ones they have to shut up and silence, and which ones they can promote. So they just have a better mechanism right now to convince and fool people out there.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, going up to the next one, we're going up to the number one story now, and it's definitely connected. We talked about the horrific stuff going on in Gaza right now. Guess what? We're amping up the censorship. We're amping up the total annihilation and destruction of our Constitution and our First Amendment by none other than Marco Rubio. This came out this morning. Marco Rubio says the U.S. is implementing a vigorous new visa policy to prevent foreign nationals with anti-Israel views from traveling to the U.S. Let's hear him tell us himself. Here it is.
Under President Trump, the United States will stand with the Jewish people. We have implemented a vigorous new visa policy that will prevent foreign nationals from coming to the United States to foment hatred against our Jewish community. We are holding international organizations and nations accountable for rhetoric against Israel that resurfaces in the manifesto of monsters like Iran and Sarah's killer. But we do see an eventual light at the end of this long tunnel of suffering. One can imagine a Middle East in which the Abraham Accords eventually reign. So thank you for the opportunity to address you.
Wow. And we knew this was happening. They're going to use the double murder. We know it's a psyop, clearly. But even if it wasn't, even if it was just a lone Palestinian supporter who murders two Christians, by the way, they weren't even Jewish. They work for the Jewish embassy. Christian
They were
Zionists, yeah. So a crime against Zionists is a crime against Israelis, apparently. But we knew they were going to leverage this, and it was going to make even more laws and taking away rights of people. And you're talking about people coming here, foreigners coming here. You're going to look at their social media and see if they have any critique against a foreign country. They can critique America, probably say, hey, I hate Trump, or I hate Biden, or I hate this or that. No problem. But if you dare say you don't like Netanyahu's policies because it's murdering people, then you are not allowed in this country anymore. And that's the right thing to do. And that's and how many people who voted for this crap think this is okay? That's the most disgusting part of it. He should be like taken out of the room and say, you are not doing your job. We need to replace you immediately. But the reason he gets to do this is because he's got enough support that think that voting for Trump is make Israel great again, not make America.
Yeah. You want to talk about enough support, Matt? This guy got confirmed 99-0.
Jeez.
99-0. He got confirmed in the Senate. Literally, I don't even know who didn't vote that day, who was left out, but who cares? It'd be different if you showed up and voted against him, make a statement, but 99-0. Right. So that can just show you what's going on. And you were right. Listen, we had said this before. It doesn't make a difference. My personal opinion, it doesn't make a difference whether it was a false flag, planned situation. It really would naturally happen. At the end of the day, there was going to be an apparatus that was going to use this to their advantage and change laws and infringe more on our civil liberties and push more censorship. And here's Marco Rubio proving our point once again. I don't want to say my point because there's many people like me who've said the same thing and agree with me. And I think you're in agreement too as well.
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't really make a difference at the end of the day. I mean, it might slightly make a difference, but we know what's going to come after it. Just like what happened with October 7th in Gaza. We knew that no matter what, whether it was planned or not, false flag, natural, we knew what Israel was going to do. And look what they're doing to this day. They were going to seize this opportunity to ethnically cleanse and further colonize Gaza. And they're doing that right now, today, and killing people on your tax dollar as they're doing it. And they are the greatest threat to our speech. Israel is the greatest threat to American speech here. And the fact that he can go out there and say that, because too many people who supported Donald Trump don't have the cugnoles or the hindsight, or the foresight to see the fact that they are being played and they are being controlled by the Zionist entity. It's just ridiculous now at this point. Too many people with dual citizenship, and they're going along as planned,
Yeah. And he's not stopping there. This is another tweet he put out, and this is regarding what's the other entity? You mentioned it early in the show, Craig.
What's that?
The China factor, right? This, our other
thing.
nemesis that wants to take over Putin wants to take over the world. China wants to take over. Everybody wants to take over the world, but no, we're just the good guys trying to protect the planet. Yeah. Okay. So the China problem that they created in their base, they've had it for a long time. You're trying to take over TikTok. You're trying to do all these things. We got to stop them. Well, why not just throw China into the mix? You're already saying we're not going to let people in that have negative comments against Israel. So why not also not let people in who have positive comments about their country, because they're supposed to be the bad guy? Yes, this is actually happening from the same guy, Marco Rubio, tweeting this out, that the U.S. will begin revoking visas of Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying critical fields. In other words, he's saying that we're no longer going to provide education to people who associate with the enemy. And that's the country we are now creating, one that is not welcoming, one that is not diverse, one that is not empowering everybody. No, now we are going to shut those doors as well. Why not? Why not just shut the doors to everyone and protect us from all the evil boogeymen all around the planet, except us, of course?
Censorship, and because they use this to gonna censor whatever now. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, oh, I made a good post about China, we can censor and silence you. The more they do this, right, the more they infringe on civil liberties, the more they censor or shut people out. First of all, it should be an insult to critical thinking Americans out there who want to say, no, if that person comes over and does this, whatever, or if that person says something or not, we want to decide what is right or what's wrong. But, making people believe that China is your enemy. And there is a lot of people, like there's somebody, once again, I talked to last week, and she's like, oh, no, China is implementing a divide and conquer strategy out there. Like, no, they're not. They don't control our government. They don't do the things we do. It's ridiculous that they're making more boogeymen out there. And the populist right boogeyman has always been China. Yeah. And, dude, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs.
So, yeah, welcome to 2025, the world of censorship and amping up the war machine. And the president that ran on anti-war is the one pushing all of this, and his cabinet is right in place, right in line, and his followers are in line as well. And it doesn't look like it's letting up anytime soon. And that is Top
Censored News of the Week.
All right. Okay. Let's see. We got some more stuff to get into. Do you need a minute, or are you good to go on to
It's up to you, man. I mean, I'm going to take advantage of a break if we do a 2-minute break and brew some quick coffee. But if not, I can. If you want to go right into it, I mean, it looks like we got a decent amount of time. No,
we got some stuff to get into. We can take. You want to do?
You call it, buddy. I'm following your lead.
Okay,
you're dancing.
The next segment. This is. I want to get you on because this is the Trump and Putin World War III watch. So let's get into this.
Oh God.
And then we'll do it. We'll do a little break after that. But if you guys are just
I'm going to end the war in 24 hours before I even take the office. The war will be ended.
This is this is some it's pretty entertaining. So guys, grab a popcorn. Here we go. It's time for World War III watch. Here we go.
I love it, Matt. I love it.
It's World War III watch. We are looking at the Trump-Putin situation. We've been following this obviously for weeks and weeks, but it seems that more and more that Trump is not only following the Biden policies in Ukraine because he's continuing to give weapons, continuing to not do the thing he ran on, which was to end the war in 24 hours. He just keeps just unloading the money the same way. And now he's saying publicly he doesn't know what the hell's going on. He has no idea. I'm going to put this tweet up first, and then we'll get to what he did today. But this was the tweet from last week where he says I've always had good relationships with Putin. But something's happened to him. He's gone crazy, absolutely crazy. He's killing people. I don't just mean soldiers. I mean, he's just doing all this nonsense. And I always said, and this is fun. This is where we know he's basically Biden on steroids now. Because he's saying, I always said he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it. And maybe that's proving to be right if he does. But it will lead to the downfall of Russia. So there's these indirect threats as he goes on from there. And then he tries to separate himself and say, this is not Trump's war. This is Zelensky's war. This is Putin's war. This is Biden's war. I'm just the guy trying to end it. But he has no idea how to end it. And then CNN did. I'm shocked CNN. Well, I'm not shocked. They like making him look bad. But it's funny. They have to pick and choose what to make him look bad at because it's making our entire war policy look bad. But here's Trump in a mashup from CNN telling us 2 weeks to end this. 2 weeks. Here it is.
Trust President Putin. In about 2 weeks.
Is Ukraine doing enough to get this?
I'd rather tell you in about 2 weeks from now.
Keep saying 2 weeks about President Putin. What is 2 weeks? Give us what is the actual date? What is the timeline?
2 weeks or less, and if it's a little more at the time, I say. But they're losing a lot of people.
You see those little dates up at the top? April 27th, May 19th. Today is May 28th. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Now we're still 2 weeks away.
Yep. And that's enough. We had enough with CNN on that one. But yeah, that pretty much tells how ridiculous his even just his PR team is not doing him any favors to have him kind of all over the place right now. But the thing that sticks out to me, Craig, more than anything is that the part about him playing this, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what Putin's up to. It's so weird. And it reminds me of February 2022 when the Democrats bought and sold this narrative to their base, the Anthony Blinken narrative, whoever, the Victoria Nuland narrative, which they bought and sold. They took it all with face value that Putin woke up one morning in February of 2022 and decided he wanted to take over all of Europe and the world was next and we had to stop it. Trump is going down that same line, but he must know better. This has got to be something. He's not stupid, right? He's not being told misinformation and getting confused. He must know that this happened, right? Putin's helicopter was fended off a drone attack. He must know that there are rules being broken, that there's lines being crossed. Failed assassination attempt. This was just less than a week ago on Putin. So he gets out of this, and then Alex Jones reports this next that there has been escalation by Putin. 50,000 Russian troops are amassing near Ukraine's second largest city. Preparation for major attack. This is him saying President Trump is being kept in the dark, and if somebody urged President, so Alex Jones is taking this 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 over optimistic. Hey, maybe he just doesn't know better. Someone tell him that you keep playing this game and you're going to be triggering World War III. We can debate all day about how much Trump is being, is he captured and just doing exactly what he's told? Does he like doing this? Is he the one initiating this disastrous plan? Or like Alex Jones is kind of suggesting here, he's innocent and he's getting bad intel on purpose. And somebody needs to say, Trump, blink twice if you're okay. So
Can we all right, let's talk about this.
Yeah, go for it.
What are the first of all, the Alex Jones, and I'm going to just say this straight out before we get to the conversation. Excuses. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
People are constantly making excuses for Donald Trump. We saw the little mashup of 2 weeks. By the way, I was waiting for you, and you showed your age. You showed how young you were because, and I have the clip. There was a movie with Tom Hanks, and I forgot her name. I think it was Sherry Long. It wasn't Sherry Long with it. I think that was her name from the Cheers, the original. It was called The Money Pit. Right?
I know The Money Pit, and I know Cheers.
I got the clip.
I know Shelley Long.
I got a clip. 2 weeks. It was a contractor. 2 weeks. This Italian guy. Hey, how long? Everything was 2 weeks, right? So I got that clip. Hopefully you'll let me play it at the end because it's so necessary to seeing Donald Trump saying 2 weeks. It's like, it's comical, right? That was the comedy back. It was called The Money Pit. It was the comedy back in the day. They bought this multi-million-dollar house and it just fell apart. It was ridiculous. And it wrecked their relationship, whatever. So we need to play that because Donald Trump's in the same thing. But here's the thing. People are making excuses for Donald Trump. What are the reasons here? He's either being giving bad intel for real. You listen, I almost called you Jamie. Matt, we figured out what's going on ourselves right here. It's very easy to figure out. The Russians, for years, tried to get a deal from 2014 to 2022. They tried to get a deal done for a permanent ceasefire and end to hostilities. They couldn't do it. They used these things called the Minsk I, Minsk II, and other treaties in which they said they were sitting down to negotiate, and they only used that time of the negotiations taking place as a stall tactic to gear back up to continue the fight. So they used those pauses to regroup while the American and the Europeans armed the Kiev regime. So now they try to say, and this is how stupid they think you are, and Donald Trump is echoing the same sentiment, we need a ceasefire, right? We stop fighting and then we talk things out. No, you've already done that before. And the Russians have made it perfectly clear that you will not get a ceasefire. You will only get a ceasefire. You won't get it unconditionally. You will only get a ceasefire when we sit down and we talk about, number one, the causes of this war, the root causes of this war, and number two, an end to the hostilities altogether. We have a settlement on land, on dispute and whatnot. We're not going to stop fighting until that happens. Why? We're winning the war. You killed ethnic Russians in the Donbass. You created this situation. You kind of jostled and lobbied that you were going to join NATO, and we said we will not allow Ukraine to be in NATO on our border. You've done so many things, and now you want to sit there and you think your people are so dumb that you can say he's not doing a ceasefire and he's crazy. I mean, he is Donald, and he's become Joe Biden on steroids. And Mark Slobodka told us 3 weeks ago on the show on the Truth Wire, it's like pretty soon Donald Trump will be capitulating to the Joe Biden position.
No, and he is. This is the position.
Yeah, this is the position. Putin wants to take over. So the excuse is either one, he's getting bad information, or two, he's too stupid, or three, which is the one I think is he's doing what he was put there to do.
Exactly what he was put there
lie to the people. Keep the military-industrial complex going. Nothing was ever going to change. He should do what he said. There is no excuses because here's the thing. As commander-in-chief, he can do this. Zelensky, you take a deal. I can tell you what, I'll give you asylum. You can stay here in Miami so your own Nazis within your own party won't kill you. The Azov battalion, you can come here. You can call an end to the war. I automatically cut off the spigot. I have that power. I'm the president. Yeah. I'm the commander-in-chief. I can cut off the spigot, hit the switch. In 2 weeks, you'll be out of weapons. You can't fight this war anymore. It's done. You accept the territories that are there that they've taken, right? And we start the process of rebuilding. We'll help you rebuild Ukraine. BlackRock's already there and stuff. You already gave us the minerals. Let's go to work. You can do that. He's not doing that. Yeah. He's making excuses. And why does he make excuses? Because his base will buy it, Matt. He'll go along with him no matter what. The social engineers know that. Him being too stupid is not an excuse. He's not giving bad advice. He's one of them. He's protecting them. The elites. Sorry. Yeah. You've been played.
And we're
perfect example, Ukraine. You've been played.
We're being played in real time, and we know that the checkbook that never ends, the faucet, the money faucet that never
money laundering scheme, right?
It's the same faucet. You can't turn it off for Ukraine. You can't turn it off for Israel. That one you turn up on higher volume of just raining money, just unlimited money. We know that if you turn off that faucet, that's a damn good start. If you want to talk about ending something in 24 hours or 48 or 2 weeks or whatever the hell the metric line is, Start by turning off. So the fact that he keeps doing the weapons deals with Ukraine, that should say enough right there. That's it.
And Lavrov, who's the defense minister, started to cut you off, Matt, but Lavrov has made it perfectly clear. You want to ceasefire unconditionally, but yet you want to still continue to send weapons? Like he said that specifically. Like, are you kidding me? You fooled us 3 or 4 times on that. 2 times in particular with MiG 1 and MiG 2. Like if you understand the situation, you understand what's going on. There is no excuses. Donald Trump is not doing that. And now, like he said, I'm glad you said it. He's capitulated back to Joe Biden on steroids now. Vladimir Putin's a madman. No, not at all, you idiot. Like, turn off the spigot. And let me tell you something. I'm always going to push back in an anti-imperialist, anti-war mentality. I want to see the killing of babies in Gaza to stop, the mother and women and children in Gaza to stop, people being starved out in Gaza to stop. But if this war were to end over here, where it's almost 1 million lives now we're talking about, there's a piece of me that we're like, all right, thank God that has ended right there. Thank God. It's still, the fight continues to stop the other wars everywhere else. But this whole Donald Trump wants to end wars is such a lie. He's going right along, and people are buying into his rhetoric. And there's a bunch of people out there who, the biggest useful idiots out there. Like I said, these Laura Loomer types who are acting like Donald Trump is fighting all the industries and the deep state in his presidency right now. He's going along and capitulating with them every single step of the way. You have gotten nothing. The medical freedom movement has gotten nothing. The anti-war movement has gotten nothing. The only people who've gotten stuff are the people who are so xenophobic that they think that getting immigrants out of this country or something that's going to really help us all out. You're the only people who got something. The lowest denominator of mentality in this country, the foreigners here are killing us. Those are the people that got something. And they didn't even get a lot too as well, because they're not getting rid of a lot of people because Donald Trump's friend depend on that cheap labor, baby. So you've been fooled even there too as well.
Yeah. One more thing that's worth pointing out in this situation with Putin. Putin, what we've taken for granted this entire time, and when I say entire time, you mentioned the Minsk agreement, the agreements that NATO broke over and over. We keep lying. We keep saying not 1 inch forward, not 1 inch forward of NATO to east, and then we lie and do it. And don't worry, Ukraine's not going to join NATO. No, now we're going to pressure them to join. So all these different lie after lie. We've been taking for granted Putin's demeanor, Putin's calm, Putin's ability to be calm and collected before making a decision, versus our leaders who like to act off impulse and emotion and craziness. What if that ability that Putin has runs out? What if there's a breaking point for him? I'm just going to play this because this is important. Putin mentions the lying and deceiving of NATO. How can we make a deal? Why would anybody make a deal with an organization like NATO who's proven time and time and time again to lie? Well, he kind of points it out here, and this part might be the most concerning of all. Regardless what Trump is tweeting out on Truth Social, Putin is saying this.
Обманули всех подряд о том, что НАТО не будет расширяться на восток. Но наши исторические территории с населением русскоговорящим в НАТО не оборзели, нет?
What the F is wrong with them?
You should have lowered that. We couldn't hear you. You should have had that lowered.
Мало то, что
not only did they lie to everyone about that NATO will not expand to the east, but our historical territories with Russian-speaking populations in NATO, what the F is wrong with them?
Yeah. It's almost as like I had no choice to do what I had to do. I tried to freaking find peace. I've tried. Listen, since Putin has become somewhat, when he started rubbing elbows with George W. Bush, he's come to George W. Bush and talked, listen, we have a situation over here with Chechens in Russia. They're being funded and fueled by the CIA. You know what I'm saying? These are attacking Russian ethnic-speaking people. Come on. And now you have a situation like in Ukraine where you have clearly the western part of the country that are led and have, Banderite fashions. In other words, Ukrainian Nazis, streets named after these Stefan Bandera, who was the Ukrainian Nazi that fought with the Nazis during World War II. You have those mentality of people firing on ethnic-speaking people and Russians in the East, where the East parts of that fought with the Soviet Union during World War II and killing them. Like, you're killing these people. What the F? Number one, that's crazy. And what do you think I have to do? And we've said this before, if it was a bunch of English speaking people in Mexico on the border of the United States near Texas, and they were being killed by the Mexican government, a bunch of Americans that were living there, expats, what do you think our government would do? Yeah. Forget about it. They would go crazy. So they knew this would happen. They did it on purpose. They wanted a war. They don't care about lives. Our foreign policy apparatus has, and Donald Trump hasn't done anything to change it. Okay. He's gone along with it. And he did. In that Truth Social tweet, can you put that Truth Social tweet up real quick? Because I want to analyze that just briefly and quickly, and we can move on because I know we have a schedule to keep. But when he says, I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, right? Where's the part? Like,
yeah, it's in the middle.
Everything out of, okay. Yeah. This war would have never started if I were president. This is Zelensky's, Putin, and Biden's war, not Trump's. People actually believe that. Yet he's sending the same people, the same, Kellogg, people of the same mentality. Lindsey Graham he sent to Turkey, right? Just to be there, not in the room, but to be there and meet with the Ukrainians who were advocating and trying to sit down and talk with peace with Russia over there. He was with Lindsey Graham before that, the Ukrainian representative. I mean, you're doing the same thing. You have the same language. That you did escalate this war, right? You started off. You gave Zelensky lethal weapon, and what's the excuse? He was given bad advice again by his people again, Matt. Yeah. You even said I gave you javelins to fire on those Russian tanks. Oh, Biden gave you sheets. I gave you javelins. Record-breaking contracts. A ton of weapons went. You escalated this war. You have a part to play, and guess what? Let's wipe this out. Let's say you didn't. It's your war now. You can cut off the spigot if you want. You're not doing so. So it is now your war. It's on your lap. And too many people believe this rhetoric. And this rhetoric has been in a hyperdrive. It's not my war for the last month and a half since he's been backed into a corner. And his people that control him won't let him get out of this war.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
2 weeks.
And here we are. 2 more weeks.
Can we play the video?
2 more weeks. And that's
let me play the video really quickly for 2 weeks. Put it up.
Let's do it again. Let's do the video. Okay.
It's a quick one. 2 weeks, the money pit. Donald Trump, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you can share it.
Hey, I never thought I'd say this, but shout out to CNN for this mashup, right? I mean,
no, I'm gonna play my video 2 weeks.
Oh, your 2 weeks.
Yeah, but share my video.
You got it cleared up. You got it cleared up. Okay, here we go.
What do you think all that'll take? 2 weeks. Really?
Joe Montana.
Any idea when you're going to be finished here?
2 weeks.
How long will it take to put this place together?
2 weeks. I do get the permits. How long will the job take? 2 weeks. 2 weeks? 2 weeks? You sound like a parakeet there. 2 weeks? 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks. It's amazing. Amazing nothing. It'll be a regular miracle.
Yeah, that's
next package can record all your.
There it is.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And by the way, don't forget an oldie but a goodie. 2 weeks to slow the curve. 2 weeks to slow the curve.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good. Yeah.
Donald Trump is just. I'm sorry, man. The dude is a clown. He is the jester that they put out in front of you, and the fact that you guys are going along and believing this stuff all the time, it's sad. It really is, guys. I'm so sorry. We had our moment with Obama. We were scared to talk up. You guys just the majority of people want Donald Trump to be an outsider. They want him to be, taking on the deep state. And, it's only been 4 months, Matt.
I got to give him a little more credit. You can have this conversation with MAGAs. I'm telling you, we were not allowed to have a conversation with our own base when Obama was doing it. No, we were not.
I get it, but here's the one thing.
Credit. I gotta give him
a little credit, but they still come across with the bullshit. They still want to believe. Here's the thing.
But Craig, I'm gonna have to push back on you. Being allowed to have a conversation is the starting point. If people, we talked about Dr. Shiva earlier. The people that won't let you finish a sentence, there's no hope. Our base treated us like that. the Bernies. Oh, quit your whine, Sarah Silverman. Quit your whining, you Bernie bro pieces of shit. I'm telling you, man, you can have a conversation with MAGAs, and that's a starting point. So let's stop punching down on them.
Let me just say this much.
Let's stop punching down on them and at least acknowledge that they're willing to listen to our experience. And we're saying we're using our experience to educate you on this is how it goes.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. There's a lot more of them that believe on the right that didn't believe on the left. We weren't allowed to have those conversations because the Democratic Party said no. But there's
our neighbors and families and friends
such
said
a
no.
small amount compared to the huge amount of MAGAs that want to believe is a big difference. So yes, you're right. At least they listen, but there's so much more. When I said that, I never thought the level of hero worshiping and uplifting of a person would ever reach the limits and the height that Obama hit. The Trumpers said, hold my beer. And they've crushed that. They worship this guy no matter what. There's a lot more of them than there is of us that can't speak. You know what I'm saying? That actually believe. We were just told by the leadership of the Democratic Party to shut up. There was a lot more descendants on the left than there are on the right. And I believe that. There's a lot more homeless left. There's a lot more homeless left than there is homeless right. That's all I got to say.
The tide might be turning gradually, but it's because we're having these conversations and they're listening. That's the point. So let's keep doing this. Let's keep doing this before the whole world blows up from World War III. That was the whole point of this.
We got to find the bunkers underground or start building our own.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That does it for World War III Watch. Let's go ahead and take a little 2-minute, and we will be right back.
Can we get 3 minutes so I can brew some coffee?
Okay. Well, you know, when I say 2, I really mean 3. Because if I said 3, then it would mean 4. You know, yeah, you go. Okay.
Matt, I love you. This is a great show. Every single time I do a show with you, I have so much fun. And when, you know, that's the thing is, despite being censored and shut on out of like a lot of the conversation out there because they won't promote independent thinking out there, right? They only promote tribal stuff. I still have an amazing time. And in being able to talk about these things, it's a privilege in itself. So thank you for making me your co-host on Thursdays. Really, you know, I've told you this before, and I'm saying that because I know that, you know, when you try to play Mr. Switzerland and point out even the positives, sometimes I can shoot you down. But I think the work you're doing, at least looking at it, is great. You're right. At least they're open to talk. I talk at more Trump events than I do, you know, Democrat events because they'll let me. They wouldn't even let me talk on the Medicare for All stage. They let me go talk.
See, that's so
you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So let's do less bashing of them and shaming of them voting for this guy. Let's at least start there. Like, thank you for having this conversation. It's a great place for us to start.
It's past the time for shock therapy at this point. They're still making excuses, and we have to, because like you said, what we learned, we have to be loud about that. Like, we get it. We had hope and change. Hope and change. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. Outsider. It's different here. Yeah. We had it. It's not. Yeah. It's the same damn soup.
So let's keep talking about it. That's what we're doing. We're doing the right. We're doing it right. We're doing it right. Okay, guys.
That's
we'll
a
be
nice
right
way
back.
of you saying I was right and you're wrong. Got it. Just kidding. I'm busting balls. Yeah, busting balls. Busting balls. I love you.
Okay. Love you too, man. See you back in a couple minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay. There we go. Okay, here we go. We're back. We're back. I think we hit the 3-minute mark. Pretty nice there. We did it.
I decided to go with cold herbal tea.
Ooh.
Dandelion, chamomile, ginger, turmeric instead of mostly dandelion. Thank you, Oz. Yeah, I decided to go with that instead of coffee. No more caffeine. It's too late over here. It's almost 5 o'clock, and I want to be up all night.
You'll be up all night if you drink a coffee at 5. I can see a little. Yeah, probably don't want to. I think that's the cutoff. 5 o'clock's the cutoff for coffee. Yeah, good one.
As you get older, I'm trying to make the cutoff around 3 o'clock. You know.
Okay.
As you get older, Matt, you know what I'm saying?
Whatever. It's state of mind, my friend. State of mind. You know, we can play whatever role we want in our mind, right? We can be
the mind says one thing. They say where the mind goes, the body will follow, but I don't know if that's always true.
I plan to be 29 forever, and you know, obviously, you know, Leslie keeps me young, which is great. I love that. She's been great at that. It's very inspiring. So we want to be around. We want to be inspired by youth around us and youthful-minded people. So we keep it going. But we've learned a lot about health. That's for sure. We've learned a lot about health and wellness over these last 5 years. I'll tell you that, Craig. This is stuff I never really looked at until they started telling us what we couldn't do. And we weren't like, once you start boarding up like basketball courts and putting sand inside of skate parks and closing down gyms, now I'm a little concerned. What else have you been doing to us? That got me going, that's interesting for health policy.
Well, it's been so interesting because the right is now kind of the American right, or the conservatives have taken over the health industry movement. It flipped itself completely upside down. Too many people are on the left, even though they were told to be healthy, whatnot, they were like, oh, well, don't make fun of that fat person, be inclusive, and that unhealthy person. You know what I'm saying? It's like you didn't want to bash that anymore. And in a sense, you justified it and you allowed it. And therefore you made it more about, we have to be safe, right? We have to lock down. We need only essential places, but yet they're delivering you fast, unhealthy, disgusting food. And you were all cool about it. And then the right, I remember Sarah, what's her name? She once ran for vice president with McCain. Sarah, I don't want to say Silverman. The one from Alaska. Sarah Palin.
2008.
Kind of go after Bloomberg, or it was Bloomberg. I don't know if it was Cuomo or Bloomberg. I think it was Bloomberg when Bloomberg won the outlaw in New York City, 64-ounce Cokes. Like they didn't want, they used to have the pail at 7-Eleven. You can get a pail of soda. And, he wanted to outlaw that. Now, I understand that might not be the best way to send a health message and stuff, but remembering the right make fun of that and make fun of Michelle Obama wanting to make school foods good again and clean and stuff, that just shows you, plain and simple, how polarizing our society is, where they pit one side against another, the football mentality. You're both fighting and arguing against the same thing. You're arguing against yourself and you're fighting against yourself. It's kind of crazy.
Well, good thing a lot of them did wake up 5 years ago, and the health freedom, medical movement started, and it was people that were maybe not paying attention back then and just assumed that if Michelle Obama put something out there, it was bad just because. But now I think it's about saying, wait a minute, maybe this is maybe we did get this wrong. Just like I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying man, you're gonna shut down our gyms, really? Maybe and then this goes back to the things that we didn't pay attention to. I was told that Jenny McCarthy was crazy, pre-COVID. I was told RFK Jr. was crazy, and I didn't look into it. So we now know that they had obviously had legitimate concerns about our health and food and medical industries that were corrupt and captured and hurting us. So let's hope that more people continue to wake up. Yeah,
I got to say, the thing that was most surprising and startling to me is that the number one issue from a lot of the Bernie Sanders folks in LA that me and Fiorello used to march in the streets were, we marched in the streets with nurses and teachers before too as well. And when we marched in the street with nurses, the number one adversary was the pharmaceutical lobbyist, was Big Pharma. You know what I'm saying? That the goal, what we were fighting for, was healthcare for all. Now, I know it was kind of myopic when you don't think about, well, what type of healthcare are you getting? because we have a sick care system. Our healthcare system's built on the mentality of that of battlefield healthcare, just get you healthy enough to get you back on the battlefield, right? Which in some situations can be good if there's an emergency, yeah. But long-term care is just exempt from our system. But for people to capitulate with everything COVID, with these pharmaceutical companies, which they were in the streets fighting against, was the most complexing and just perplexed, I should say, situation that I've seen out there. Like, I couldn't figure it out. Like, how could they go along with the same people that they were pushing against for so many years? I mean, it was just bizarre.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is our live show where we got more show for you guys. You haven't missed our guest coming in a little later. The next actually is coming pretty soon. Dr. David Martin will be with us. Will be on the Homeless Left with us. We're looking forward to that conversation. You guys can always go back and watch our replays. We have all of our live shows are up on our Rumble channel. We never take them down. You guys can go watch the raw version, the raw takes. They're up there. All 108 episodes over the past 2 years. We've been doing this thing 2 years now on Rumble. We also put our segments up. If you guys want to grab the segments, we try to get them up within a week or so of each episode, the 2 episodes per week. And those segments, those are for you guys. Those are for you guys to if there's something that triggers your interest that you connect with, or you think somebody in your circle might connect with, it might be the tipping point for them to wake up and get out of the tribal way of thinking, get out of their tribe and start looking at the world in critical thinking. And you just need that one little tip. Maybe one of our segments can do that for you. So go back and grab those segments, share them with the family, friends, and people that maybe you feel estranged from, and maybe that'll start a new conversation. So we try to cover as much stuff on the show as possible. We don't get to every single news thing, but we try our best, and we do definitely like to cover a wide range of happening. So let's get into this. One's going to be a fun one. This one is, we like to do Loudest Voice of the Week, and I like this segment. Actually, I'll point this out, Craig. I think you know this. We had on our burner channel on YouTube, it did blow up. A Loudest Voice of the Week we did on Gal Gadot and the protests in London on her film set. We called it Gal Interrupted, which she was, and it was great because you have to send a message to the Zionists that they're not welcome with their bigotry and hate speech. And they didn't want her film to be shot in their area in London. And we reported on it, and now that video has gone, I think it just hit 80,000 views on our YouTube channel. And we just love the fact that there's people out there that support what we're doing. So we took a win on that one. And now we're ready for this week's Loudest Voice of the Week. This one will be fun too. Here we go. Let me grab the, here it is. We always got to do a little opening for you guys. Here we go. Well, it seems like Jordan Peterson, the right-wing intellectual, has kind of slowly started falling a little bit off a ledge. I don't want to say he's taking a nosedive, but he seems a little unhinged lately. You guys know he's been on certain podcasts where he's starting to flip around this 180, where he's trying to censor Joe Rogan, tell him he's got to watch out with the people he has on his show, doing all this spinning and maneuvering on behalf of Israel. It's so bizarre because the guy used to be a medical freedom champion, and a free speech champion at that. But the idea that debating other people and I guess young people, he might have been inspired by the likes of a Ben Shapiro or a Charlie Kirk, thinking I can go take on a room full of young people because I'm intellectually superior and I'll just find a way to beat them. So next kid grab a mic, I beat you. Next kid grab a mic, I beat you. So I think he was definitely disappointed when he signed up to be at a Christian versus 20 atheists event that he put together in order to get his public opinion back in tip-top shape. It didn't quite go so well for Jordan Peterson. Let's look at what one of the kids did in a few, little bit of time he had with him. But these young atheists came prepared. They came to fight. Let's see what happened. So that's a little.
I would have liked to see more of that thing, I guess. But saying it's.
Well, I have a second one I queued up, which is
good,
a little
good,
more.
good.
It goes a little, this one was just about calling out what is he representing, and I think a lot of us, we wonder, what are you representing when you call yourself a Christian, and then you're doing you're acting on behest of an occupied state, of an apartheid state of Israel, and you're doing the bidding for them constantly, and then you're representing censorship of alternate voices, which is the exact opposite we've been doing for the previous 3-4 years. So I think there's something to be said about what he's even allowed to claim he is as a Christian. Or what are you saying? What are you not saying? You can comment on this one, Craig, but if you want to see, I did queue up a second one, because this next interaction that's a bit longer, but what this second student atheist is able to do is get Jordan Peterson to admit in a kind of a very intellectual way that his moral compass is only applied when convenient, and it's completely hypocritical. And so we need to look at this, because these are the people that go parade around and preach about moral compasses and integrity. And this kid found a way to get him into a corner, and he couldn't take it. So let's watch this next one, and I want to hear your feedback on the whole experience. So this is, now I'm pausing here. He's saying, I would do anything I could to not get into that situation. Now he's in some very shaky territory. And this is where we get into the justification of Palestine. I'm making that comparison. You'll know where I'm going with this, Craig, when he's done here, because Palestine doesn't come up in this. But there's an idea that with this circular logic about, I don't have to answer your question because it's a hypothetical about something that I would never be in. But the kid's saying, no, but what if you did? What if you are in Nazi Germany? And you had to, so here we go. This is where this argument loses every sort of bit of moral, kind of value at all, because he refuses to acknowledge that this is an actual predicament that people are in. And I just can't help but think about the current situation right now in Palestine. And I'm starting to understand more about how you can sleep at night after saying that what is being done to the Palestinian people is okay, because the scenario that they find themselves in, they somehow brought it on themselves. This whole idea of sin, or born with sin, just born in the wrong place, wrong time. Jordan Peterson doesn't want to answer that question about the hypothetical in Nazi Germany, because he doesn't want to also have to apply it to people having to do what they have to do. I don't know. Maybe if you want to resist an occupation you've had your entire life in an open air prison, you might want to stage a resistance movement. So there's no ability to connect with that, because he refuses to put himself in that position, because he's taking a higher ground. And this is where we get to the people have different values in God's eyes, and there's chosen people who are not born into situations like Gaza because they were chosen. So he won't answer it in that circumstance. That's what I feel. I'm able to see a little bit more of what's going on in this broken man, because these kids came into this circle and did what I don't think people do with Jordan Peterson. I don't think he's never had anything like this happen on camera before, because the people he's usually in discussions with don't bring this type of I think this fresh take on things. So he could not do what he thought he could do, that Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk seem to get away with a lot more, because they're a little more skilled at this, I think.
I don't think they're skilled, because I'm looking at this in two different lights. All right, number one, it's a common thing. I've said this quite often, that it's kind of cool, because at the very end you usually let me play my clips from my pilot that I'm working on, where I put different people in the room, right? And I've always said that, a lot of people on the right, a lot of people who have a lot of big followings, whatnot, common sense right, conservatives, populist right, don't want to have conversations with people like me. When I was introduced, me and Fiorella at Defeat the Mandates, the first one in DC, it was very interesting, because it was people from the Julian Assange, Tulsi people, who brought us into this whole kind of circle. And it said, this is Pasta, Jardula, and Fiorella Isabel. They are common sense conservatives. Well, I've learned that even though you get close to them, where you say they're willing to have the conversation, there is a certain part, an apparatus on the right, that doesn't want to have conversations or shows with common sense leftists like ourselves. They'd rather have conversations with really radical people, are very tribal, very one-sided. I hate to say the term radical, because I should stop using it, but what Donald Trump and everybody refers to the radical left, very ideologue, stuck to one position. If you're stuck on one position and you can't be open-minded and be independent thinking, you're going to be trapped. You're going to lose eventually. You're going to get into a situation, the people like the Charlie Kirks, the Ben Shapiros, Myron Gaines, who's now doing this right now, the new red pill dude on the right, and Jordan Peterson would do this, and they would often do it with college students, right? Because college students are in a certain environment where some of them haven't really tapped into their independent thought yet, right? They're told to believe a certain way. It's tribe mentality. Everybody's compassionate, loving, whatnot. So when these guys go to face these people, right, they often win the debate or look better in the debate, look like the one who has more logic, because they're kind of arguing against at least the majority of the people that come out there that are still haven't really hit their plateau as far as independent thinking and have a different view, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they put him in this position to do him in, right? Like the Jordan Peterson, to expose him. If some people are done with him, they don't want to be, whatever. But they set a group of kids that are the ones that you don't want to debate, that are going to make you look bad. And they put him out there like a sheep amongst wolves, because these kids were wolves. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly where they were going. They made their points. You know what I'm saying? There is a logical point of view, I think, for atheists to have a say in our government, that they don't want to have religious aspects in it. Because when you bring religion into government, into decisions, it always, for some reason, capitulates back to my God is better than your God. And because this biblical prophecy says this, a la Sarah Huckabee Sanders, right, in Arkansas, making a law in which state representatives have to refer to the West Bank as, Judea and Samaria. They can't do that. I mean, that's what happens when you allow this to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The fact that they kind of carted Shapiro out there, right? Because they don't want to have these conversations, really, Matt.
Yeah.
In their eyes, they want to show conversations where a Republican like a Charlie Kirk, a Myron Gaines, a Jordan Peterson, a Ben Shapiro is going to eat the lunch of the young wolf who's not yet ready, right? He's not ready to be in that arena. He should be playing in double ball, double A. He shouldn't be playing in the major leagues, and they wheel him out. So the fact that they did this, and I will make this argument that a lot of those people, Steve Bannon never had me on his show because he doesn't want a common sense leftist on his show. Alex Jones hasn't wanted me on his show because he doesn't want a common sense leftist on his show, especially when it came to talking about the elections in Brazil and Latin America and stuff. They chose their own person that would repeat their rhetoric. So this is just an interesting, intriguing situation. I don't know who put him out there. He should have a conversation with somebody. But even as smart as Jordan Peterson can be, especially when his own point of view, he's always showed an opening of just capitulating to religion and believing in religion. On that stage with Russell Brand and Rescue the Republicans in D.C., it was nauseating, him saying we have to go back and revert to our Christian Judaic principles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they put him out there and they slayed him. So either somebody messed up or they did it on purpose because they want to ingest some form of incredibility moving forward in Jordan Peterson.
Or they said, if you want to get back into the limelight, you got to get through these kids first. This was the final boss, or whatever you say. But these kids, they showed up and they said, oh, you can take on these little atheists. They don't know any. No, these are non-tribal thinkers that come to the table, critical thinking skills, ready to go, not representing a tribe. Atheism is not really a tribe. Just to be clear, atheism is not a tribe. It's not a group. Some people mix up this whole. We get into the satanic worship stuff and this whole horrible stuff that goes on here in Hollywood. We talk about this all the time, but that's not. Sometimes people conflate that with atheism. Atheism is not part of anything. Not part of any tribe of any sort. So you can go into a debate. Just be ready. Be prepared. Get a good night's sleep the night before if you're going to debate an atheist, because they're not representing. Like their team winning a point. They're just having a critical thinking conversation. And that's all you really should want to have if you want to get to the bottom of something.
I don't like
my
to
God
have...
told me, my God told me to kill you. So trust me, he did. So I have to kill you now and take your house.
I don't like having debates like that. I had a small one with Andrew Wilson at the Cause Fest. Rebels for a Cause, and this guy Andrew Wilson, who I do not like at all, who's part of that whole Myron Gaines, that whatever, this whole kind of conversation of just bagging on women because there's an insecurity and their egos getting in play. You know what I'm saying? That they have to make women generally look like a different second class set of species, right? And I had a little debate with him. We were kind of arguing about back and forth. But, according to a lot of these people, if you're an atheist and you don't have a set of standard rules to live by, then you can never really be a cause for good, of sorts like that you're always going to be tainted and stuff. Hey, I don't need the 10 Commandments written down or what the good things that Jesus did on a piece of paper for me to say I want to do right by what's going on. The same kind of traditions of the 10 Commandments, I innately, you know what I'm saying? Innately, excuse me, not innately,
yeah.
innately believe in them. You know what I'm saying? I don't need them written down to be a good person. I don't need religion to figure out what's better for society or not. We can have these conversations and figure what's going on. Jordan Peterson just got an ass whipping on that one, man. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never seen him look that embarrassed and that just.
Yeah. It was quite a sight, but we're giving the credit to the kids, the atheist kids who showed up. They were prepared, and they get the loudest voice of the week.
They do. They deserve it. They deserve it.
I think we have time. We're gonna squeeze in one more story before
you kick me out of here. I go cook. Mom cooking ribeye for mom.
We had saved this from Tuesday because of Dr. Shiva. We weren't able to get to this one. I think it's a good transition to our next section. So we are going to go over to Rumble primarily after this part, and then we can get you out of here, Craig. But let's just do a little. We know what it's not. I think it's a nice little segue into the rest of the show here. We'll go through this quick. Here we go.
But the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
But this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The conspiracy theory about this related to vaccine, you're right.
We had to really move at the speed of science.
Once again, doctors are baffled. They have no idea what happened. That there is one thing they do know, and that is we know what it's not. If you guys didn't hear this news, RFK Jr. put forward very exciting. He's very excited about the new policy of the CDC taking the COVID vax out of the schedule of healthy women and healthy children. Very proud of that. Is there anything being done to take the CDC for the CDC to take the thing out altogether? Well, no, that's too much. You can't possibly want that to happen. But yeah, let's hear the announcement real quick, and then we'll get to the completely unrelated sudden deaths we saw this past week.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary, and I'm here today with NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary. I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule. Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
We're now one step closer to realizing President Trump's promise to make America healthy again.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
So we saw some people celebrating that moment. They considered it some breadcrumbs, baby steps, as people are seeing. We're getting closer. Give them some more time. We'll get closer. But if you guys notice, pay attention to the verbiage of that video. They're saying there's no data to suggest what? There's no data to suggest that healthy people will catch COVID. That's all this is. This is complete psyop, complete BS. They're not talking about the damage from the thing. They're talking about why pregnant women and healthy kids don't need this thing because they're not susceptible to get the thing is supposed to prevent you from getting. No regard for any consequences beyond whether you get COVID or not. No regard for what happens to you as a result of putting this experimental thing in your body. So that's got to be made clear, and people need to understand that's what's going on. Am I missing something from this, Craig?
Well, the thing is that I don't think we're really talking about the problem itself. They're kind of masking it over and saying, hey, we're not going to recommend it for healthy people. They're not talking about the dangers of mRNA.
Exactly.
And, even Dan Bongino was kind of floating the fact that there's another COVID out there. But what if there's another outbreak? Are they going to recommend it then? You know what I'm saying? It's still there. You know what I'm saying? There's still qualified immunity for that shot. In other words, they can't get sued. You know, there's no liability there. And we really are not kind of like talking about how it got there in the first place and the causes and stuff. I mean, you know, what it's all about. And there are other shots that, you know, we're not even talking about. I mean, I don't know if it is a small win, but it's just a recommendation. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like we were talking last week, I think, about the treaty, right? The USA is not signed on to the global treaty. But what happens when a Democrat comes back in? They go on it right away. What happens when a Democrat comes in? They just start recommending. The shot's still out there. They're still manufacturing. They're still getting protection. And you even have the Republicans. Like I said, that Dan Bongino kind of saying, as other we're learning that other COVID strains are kind of evolving or coming out now, or wherever he was kind of implying, he was building in a built-in excuse.
Exactly.
Not punishing people moving forward. Like,
yeah.
It's still a thing. Donald Trump still took the shot.
They are setting
Donald
the
Trump
table.
still took the shot, by the way. We have to realize that and understand that. And it's still, they're kind of saying, we just won't push it down your throat as much as they pushed it down your throat. But it's still there. It's still existing. And they can move it right back into the schedule on another COVID outbreak. Sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, the car that we sold everybody that they're driving the brakes don't work at all. So people they press on the brakes and they drive right into the wall. Guess what? We're recommending people that are healthy don't buy the car, but everybody else still needs to get in this car without brakes because you know they're not healthy, so they need the car without brakes so they can crash into some walls. That's what it's like we're not solving anything. You're supposed to take the car without brakes off of the market. That's what you're supposed to do. It's pretty easy. It's not that complicated. You just take it off the market. It's defective. It's not working. Anyways, I was just giving an analogy of something completely unrelated. We know that this has nothing to do with sudden deaths that we're seeing. Because again, this is completely unrelated, but I needed a report on this today. So let's just go through a couple of these that we saw just in the last week, completely unrelated to what we were just talking about. I just want the YouTube audience to know that the TikTok star dies at 19 after a cancer battle. Social media star Anna Grace Phelan from Georgia has died age 19 after a brief battle. That's called a rapid cancer. They left out the rapid part, but it's a brief battle with brain cancer. She was from Jefferson, documented her journey with stage 4 glioblastoma on her TikTok account, which had a following of nearly 145,000. So she documents this entire thing. She was about to start classes in college, but then she got the symptoms and she died on May 23rd. And there she is there. Another suddenly gone. And this is the aggressive cancer that they're not fully getting into they're saying it was stage 4, happened out of nowhere. Again, 19 years old, added to the list. Very sad. Look at this. 90 Day Fiance. If you guys remember that show, Ben Ratham dead at age 55 after cancer. That's so bizarre. I guess that's pretty normal. 55 years old, very normal. Nothing to see here, folks. He was surrounded by his family at home in Indiana. He died on Monday. Diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer at the end of 2024. That seems fairly recent. Wow. But I guess that again, we don't know why this is happening. Doctors don't know that, but we do know what it's not. I just want to be very clear that we have enough information and data to know exactly what this is not from. Look at this. A rock band lead vocalist dead at 32. Members share heartfelt tribute. 32. Wow. That's unfortunate. What happened to this guy? Tuesday, May 20th, Dropout King's official Facebook account announced singer's sudden death. Life comes at you in a way you can never predict. The roller coaster of chasing your dreams and building with your brothers and friends. I think we can all relate to this to an extent. The things that we set out to do in life, the joy of life, of building something, most genuine sense of what we're doing here. We're blessed with this experience, and then he drops dead. The heartbroken bandmates continue. Even still, we cannot always expect things to go the way we dream of, nor can we understand how special each moment is with our friends. So a very heartfelt post they did, a Facebook post to all their fans. Very, very sad. Very sad indeed. Oh my God, another one, a 45. The husband of Today co-host, Chanel Jones, dead at 45. Oh man, this is really stacked up because we weren't able to do this on Tuesday. This is so he had the same thing, the brain cancer, same as the 19-year-old TikTok star, glioblastoma, the blastoma. I got to pronounce that better. Leslie has to help me with that one. He was 45. He got this form of brain cancer, same thing. But again, this is normal now. This is normal that people get quick diagnosis. I can go on.
Yeah. I think too as well, we wouldn't be doing justice if we didn't point out, okay, so what we're seeing right now, we have these turbo cancers, we have these situations where they've never been recorded before, in history, and it's just nuts. And, a lot of times, and, I think you've had some insight to taking a look at people's charts, or somebody has that we know that looks at people's charts or whatever the case may be, where they, what I'm saying, and they see this fact that, okay, oh, they did get this thing over here that we know it's not. But I'm kind of curious if we do kind of go down this rabbit hole again of another COVID situation. I would love to be in the room with a lot of those other reporters to ask some of the conservatives or the populist right people their excuses, mainly about the PCR testing and the mRNA. The problem is that you can say, okay, we're taking off the suggested health, but you're not addressing the elephant in the room. That's mRNA. And from the get-go, I kind of queued up, if we wanted to as well, day 2 of Donald Trump's presidency of Larry Ellison, when we're talking about Starlink to Stargate. It's right here. He brought in the guy who wants to, kind of make mRNA vaccines and AI and combine them together for your own health reasons. So here you can just see I don't like this. Trump asked what kind of health benefits we can expect from AI. Larry Ellison suggests mRNA vaccines can be developed for every individual person to cure things like cancer. You know what I'm saying? Take a look real quick.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using.
I'm sorry, I have to point out that RSBN, I mean, look at the fucking thing they're putting up. Badass, all-in-one home gym, get jacked up.com. I mean, this is the thing they're showing as this guy's talking about AI, mRNA vaccines. I mean, we've lost.
AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours.
Wow.
I mean, that's just that is just beyond bonkers there, Matt. I mean, it's just crazy. That is what, the whole medical freedom movement's supposed to be about. And you can't just say, we're not suggesting in this way, we got to win, but yet you're promoting it. Your president, day 2 of his presidency, is bringing in this guy, Larry Ellison, giving him a ton of money to go forth with this. You're still promoting mRNA. You're still promoting AI. It's supposed to be everything you're against. But like I said, the social engineers, everything we talked about to this day, they'll make excuses for Donald Trump today. They made excuses for him back then when that happened, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was, and just to reiterate, this happened immediately. This was in the first
day 2.
Day 3?
Day 2 or 3. Yeah.
Day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wasted no time. And the combining of these two, you're talking about AI and mRNA. This is exactly the opposite of what the medical freedom movement was supposed to be about. And I think a lot of them do know that. And I do want to give some of them credit for raising concerns of this right away. Of course, the base has, and the base is going along with it, but there are There are people that are having a definitely are livid that this is happening, and are livid that there hasn't been anyone. And again, we hold up the number 0, right? We hold it up for the Epstein arrests, any sort of prosecutions for any wrongdoing, 0. We can also do it for this 0 count for COVID arrests, for putting something out on the public that intentionally, seemingly intentionally hurt people. That's where we are. Nothing's going to come from this, and it's only going to get worse if we continue down this road. But again, the people dropping dead from cancer, completely unrelated to any of this. I just wanted to report on some of the notable ones. There's a lot more on that list. We'll have to get to some more next week. But again, we don't know what's happened. The doctors are baffled. They're baffled at these sudden deaths and cancers and neurological problems and all sorts of issues, the myocarditis and everything. They're baffled that this is happening. But there's one thing we know for sure, and that is we know what it's not.
Wanted to know if I can finish up playing my video real quickly. I know you ain't got much time. I got like a 2-minute video.
Let's do the video, because I don't think we have our next guests in the studio just yet. So just let's do the 2-minute, and then we'll
you know, we were talking about that Jordan Peterson video, and I had mentioned that they don't really want a lot of conservatives and people would avoid having conversations with common sense leftists, because, you know, if they get a crazy guy who's just, you know, an ideologue who's pushing one way, a destiny, it's very easy to debate that person and look good. But it's very hard to debate a common sense leftist or a common sense conservative, for that matter, and just wipe the floor with one either way. I had this, you know, pilot that I've promoted where we have 4 different political ideologies as a co-host for a morning show, and we have conversations and exchanges that the ruling class doesn't want you to see. Here it is.
So many people on the right think if you fix this issue, you'll fix America.
Well, it's very costly.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts? Wrap it on up. Final thoughts.
Look, I'm the grandson of an immigrant from Ireland. The new people have always had problems. There was the Know Nothing Party that existed specifically to get rid of Catholics in America, right? So anytime somebody comes into an area, especially lower middle class areas, the immigrants aren't going into Martha's Vineyard. It's seen by the masses. Where are the masses? The masses are at the lower levels. We're living in apartment buildings. We're living in Manhattan. We're living where we're seeing this. And people are seeing they're losing their job, they're this, they're that. It's easy to point to somebody and say no. But there's also, we're not getting the doctors and engineers and physicists from these countries, right? So there's a real threat when you get people that their own country didn't want. They empty prisons, they come here. We have a right in our country.
You just said about throwing allegations out there without proof and stating them as facts.
Venezuela did it.
No, wait, the Venezuelan situation is a little bit different.
Of course it is.
The Venezuelan gangsters that came here, and Donald Trump sat there and honored Juan Guaido there. And these are Carlos Vecchia people.
No, I know.
These are people who are against the Maduro government that came here, that Biden allowed to come.
And that's
right.
And that's why they took over those apartment complexes in Colorado, just for peaceful protests against the Maduro.
Once again, it's a government that your boy supported. Donald Trump supported. Juan Guaido stood up. Listen, I don't want to get
support everything Donald Trump does.
But he supported that government.
The people that live here have a right to feel safe in their communities. They have a right to feel like their property values are not being submarined by some foreign bureaucracy and NGOs. And do I think it should be our number one concern? No, I don't. But does that mean it shouldn't be a concern? No, it should. At the end of the day, whether we want to agree with the severity of the crime or whatever, they are trespassing. They didn't do things the right way. They need to leave. And then I'd love anybody that wants to be in America, I want you in America. Anybody that wants to work hard, I want you here. Some of the best people I know are immigrants. We're all family of immigrants. That doesn't mean you wait online. I know waiting online sucks, but that doesn't mean you get to cut to the front because, you know, somebody 60 years ago cut the line at Six Flags and now you're the grandkid. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way this works.
All right. That's awesome what you're doing there, Craig. I love it. The actual discourse from honest commentators, journalists, the thing we never got on mainstream ever. They tricked us into thinking they had that with Crossfire. They had that with these, we're going to bring on honest people and have a real debate. No, they were all paid shills, total propagandists. Now you're bringing that model back. I love this. When I guess it's America Wake Up.
Wake Up America. Please go over there, like it, whatnot. It's just a pilot. We shot one episode. We shot about 5 different sections. We're releasing them shortly. Daniel McAdams helped us out. We're just releasing the second segment. We have a bunch of clips that we put up on our TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and the long form of the whole episodes, segments, about 22 to 26 minutes. They're on our YouTube channel where you can watch the whole segment.
Awesome. Love it. We're definitely following that and ready for those conversations to continue, of course. But thanks for the preview of that. Craig, thank you so much for helping us out today. And we had some incredible dialogue today. I loved it. A lot of great feedback from the audience as well. We'll get to some of that later on in the show. But I guess you have something coming up with Truthwire, or
I don't know if we're going tomorrow. Hopefully, I know we got a video, so we're definitely playing a video tomorrow. But we'll have something tomorrow, and we'll be back on Monday as well. And then, of course, Wednesday is WBAI New York, 4 p.m. Eastern. Come check it out. Have an amazing call-in show.
Awesome.
If you want to call in, listen, or do whatever you want to do, you can do so every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Craig. We'll see you next time.
Buddy.
Awesome.
Later, buddy.
Bye. All right, Craig Pasa, Jardula, holding things down with us here on the Homeless Left. Anti-censorship, anti-military industrial complex, anti-everything that we've been fighting for the last several years. Love having Craig on our team, the non-tribal team of critical thinkers, which is what we have to be. And we have to have courage too. So that's what it's about. Welcome you guys right now. We are going to move into our next segment, which is our guest for today. If you guys are just joining us now and you think you missed it, you didn't miss it. Dr. David Martin will be with us in just a moment. What we're going to do right now is we're going to end the stream on YouTube and we're going to cross over just to Rumble. If you guys are already on Rumble, great. Just hang out for 1 minute and we will continue the show here in just a moment. I'll go ahead and put the card on. If you're on YouTube, get off now because the stuff we're about to talk about is not appropriate for YouTube, especially since we are actually building up our new channel and we don't want to have any problems right now because we just hit a milestone, as you guys know, and we're ready to monetize again since they got rid of our last channel, terminated it. We're back, baby. We're back. But today, let's just get over to Rumble. We'll see you guys in just a minute here, and we'll be right back with Dr. David Martin. All right, give us 1 second. We'll see you. We'll see you.